Welcome, welcome, kids. Come around, gather around the campfire. I'm about to feed you, baby birds. Give you some stories. I got a for you. X gonna give it to you. Three stories, one video. Just ripping them off. Food stamp changes are about getting people back to work, not kicking them out, says the USDA chief. The Trump administration changed food stamp requirements because it wants people to find jobs, not simply remove people from the program. Agriculture Secretary Sonny Perdue told CNBC on Wednesday, "What we want to do is increase employment. We need these people in the workforce," Perdue said on Squawk Box. The U.S. Department of Agriculture on Wednesday approved the rule change, first proposed in January, that limits the ability of states to grant work waivers for single able-bodied adults enrolled in the federal Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, often called the food stamps. The change is expected to remove more than, or up to, 755,000 people from the program. In 2018, there were 2.9 million single able-bodied working adults who received SNAP benefits, according to the USDA. Nearly three-quarters were not employed. Under the existing law, single able-bodied adults cannot receive food stamp benefits for more than 3 months within a 3-year period unless they work, volunteer, or in training programs for up to 80 hours a month. But following the 2008 recession and the uneven recovery that ensued, some states were granting waivers to make sure people could have access to food stamp benefits. And in 2011, 87% of the U.S. population lived in an area covered by the waivers. In 2017, that figure was reduced to around 37%. Because of they're saying because of the economy the way it is, we have a very big surplus of jobs, low unemployment. We need to be cutting back on all these changes that happened in 2008, because like it said in the article, these waivers are still going on for people who just aren't working. Unemployed, or there are plenty of jobs out there, even if it's low quality jobs. This isn't necessarily taking away SNAP from people. This is just incentivizing them to work. You can't just sit around and not get a job or stay underemployed to get your SNAP benefits now. It's essentially what they're trying to do. And to be honest, I mean, there's going to be a lot of people who make a big deal out of this, like, oh, they're trying to hurt the poor people who can't work and stuff. But this is only for able-bodied adults who clearly can work, don't have disabilities, etc. And this specifically for single people. This isn't for families. So if you're like a single mom who's got a kid and a dependent, it's not the same. So I know that's going to come up and people are going to be like, well, think of the children. That's not what this is about. It's about people who they rent a room with 4 other roommates, and they stay working like a single 20-hour week job, and they just kind of dick around. Like, you're not even a college student, things like that. You're just hanging out. You need to get working. Or the people who are older who just don't want to work. Look, that's fine if you don't want to work. I'm not saying if you're 50 and you don't want to work, that's on you, guy. You can do it, but don't. But you shouldn't be getting food stamps because you don't want to work. You know, there's a difference between being underemployed, can't work, or deciding you don't want to and receiving food stamps because of it. I agree with it. You should be. They should limit the SNAP program to people who just are out of work temporarily. It should be a path to you getting work. It should be that to parents or to kids or parents with kids who need the extra income because obviously maybe they're underemployed or something like that. You can't afford it. It happens. I know plenty of single mothers, or my mom when I was young applied at some point for a few months. It happens. You need it. I'm not saying get rid of SNAP, but this is a way to curb costs while encouraging people to work in an economy where we need to be covering jobs. We've got a surplus of jobs, so you can't say there's no work out there. There's stuff out there. I know people who have multiple jobs. You know, it's out there. You can do it. While Perdue said he understands it can be hard to begin working after a long time out of the labor force, the former the former Georgia governor said, "We're trying to help these people get back into personal dignity of work and become part of the productive economy of the United States." Simple, clean article, but people are going to be up in arms about it and say, this is racism, and because they're only going to read the food stamp part. They're going to be like, food stamps are going away for the children, and they're targeting black people. They just hate those blacks. They hate them, even though no one ever said anything about that. And you're assuming black people are poor. I already know where this is going. So there's going to be some white senator or a representative somewhere and be like, this is targeting minorities. And they're going to be the only person talking about it. They're going to be the ones spouting racist crap that minorities are the poor people, even though this is targeted for only single people who are able to work. And they don't have dependents or anything like that. That's a tangent. I could go on for that about 20 minutes. Next one. This is by the Daily Wire. I forgot to say, this is by CNBC. That one's a short one. Chicago suburb votes to use profits from illegal pot sales to fund reparations for slavery. I'm not going to sit here and read this whole thing. Basically, Evanston, Illinois, a wealthy suburb of Chicago. I looked at the demographics. It's like 18% black, 67% white, and then other, just, various things. They recently voted to allow legal cannabis dispensaries to open within the city limits, but instead of collecting on the profits, Evanston will put the money from the cannabis dispensaries eventually to pay the city into a fund that will disperse reparations to the city's black residents. They go down, I'm not going to read this whole thing, but it basically says that they expect to raise, it'll be capped at $10 million, and then they can expect to raise $500,000 to $750,000 a year. This is a tax on marijuana, like I said. But first off, maybe I'm going to come off a little weird here. First off, Illinois is like the last state you want to be talking about when it comes to like slavery and reparations. Like, I understand there's a high population of black people there, but Illinois was like, I think it was. I was looking it up before this just to be sure I had it right. I think it was 1810s or something like that. Like 20 years, 30 years after the country started, they were they stopped slavery from expanding, and they were already not one of the big ones. The only reason there were slaves there in the first place is because France had brought them. So like, they're not the country. They're not the South with giant plantations or anything like that. So I'm not sure. I mean, I get it's a good sentiment if you want to bring up reparations and try and give money to the lower class, things like that. If that's what you're aiming them at, if you're aiming them towards people who are having trouble, like college students or building up areas, I guess it's fine. It just seems how you frame it. It's very pandery. You're in an area where it's like majority white people, and you're like, we're here to save you. We're gonna give you our tax money. Like, you should be putting this money into schools is where it should be going. I understand that it's still out there where people are like, we need to get the reparations out there. I don't want a freaking 30-minute video on reparations. I don't think that goes anywhere good. But this money could be going towards fixing roads and schools in your areas that are predominantly black. If that's where you want it to go. And somebody in this article raised a point that at the end right here, it says, it's not clear that the Constitution allows for money gathered through taxation to be benefiting only a single race, and that's true. I'm not sure that does. If we raise the fund that said only white people can get it, and it's got to come out of your tax money. This isn't money through a college or a business that we're selling you this product specifically for this, and all profits go to that. This is a taxation on the people who are just buying a specific product. It's not really the same. So that's why I'm saying that it might be better to put the fund towards, hey, we can target an area here, or we can target a specific school that's majority black, something like that. that's how you can frame it while skating around that kind of stuff and doing a good thing. And to be honest, this you shouldn't be doing this in the first place. This framing it as reparations. This should just be something you're doing anyway. I don't. It seems very pandery is the problem. I'm not saying that you shouldn't do this kind of thing. It's a conversation you can have, but it comes off as pandery, and like you just put the money towards it, towards traditionally black schools or traditionally whatever areas. This is just a conversation I wanted to bring up. If somebody in the comments wants to tell me what they think about it, maybe I'm wrong here. I don't know. This is just something I wanted to mention, and I saw other people bringing it up. I'm not sure if this kind of tax is illegal or honestly fair for the people. But like I said, if the state or not the state, if the city's representatives want to vote for this, it's what you vote. That's what they elect them in. Go ahead. All right, last article. This was kind of big news coming up. George Zimmerman has somehow come out of the news again. This happened in 2012, and he seems to pop up every couple of years in something, but it had been a while. Honestly, it had been a while. He is suing the family of Trayvon Martin for $100 million, claiming they engineered false evidence in his homicide trial for the shooting of the unarmed black teen back in 2012. Everybody knows the story. Trayvon Martin was going through a neighborhood. He gets stopped by George Zimmerman, who is the police watch in the area, I guess. Volunteer police, anything like that. Apparently he confronts him, turns his back, runs away. The story he says Trayvon jumps on him, starts beating him up, and then he shoots him. That's his story. Who knows if it happened exactly like that, but George Zimmerman had a black eye and was obviously beat up, and the kid was shot. That's however you want to frame it. That's how it happened, or what is seemingly what happened. Whether it was right or wrong for the guy to get shot, I'm not gonna get into that. This happened forever ago, and I ain't touching that with a 10-foot pole. George Zimmerman, the neighborhood watch volunteer who was acquitted in 2012 in the fatal shooting of the unarmed black teen Trayvon Martin, is suing Martin's family and the Florida prosecutors, claiming they engineered false evidence in the homicide trial. The lawsuit filed Wednesday in Polk County Circuit Court seeks $100 million in civil damages for defamation, abuse of civil process, and conspiracy. It alleges that the prosecution's key witness in Zimmerman's 2013 murder trial, Rachel Jeantel, was an imposter coached by the family and their lawyers. Whew. I guess it's... Where'd she go? This girl. With a weird haircut. The lead defendant in the suit is Sabrina Fulton, Martin's mother. Fulton became a nationally acclaimed advocate for social justice and reducing gun violence in the wake of her son's death, and is now running for a seat in the Miami-Dade County Commission. The second defendant is the family's attorney, Ben Crump. He is accused of defamation and attempting to deprive Zimmerman of his constitution and other legal rights. The lawsuit also names HarperCollins, accused publisher of the defaming Zimmerman by publishing Crump's book, Open Season, Legalized Genocide of Colored People, with an actual malice, knowing that the untruth or minimum reckless, regardless of the truth. Okay. I'm not, as I say a lot, I ain't reading this whole thing. I skimmed it before, and I read some of the stuff. That's essentially all you need to know. It seems a little weird that this is just coming out now, because to be honest, he did have a case. He did get acquitted. Regardless of what you think happened, he got acquitted. So if this ends up coming to trial, it might not go anywhere just because of that. The judge is going to be like, dude, you were at the height of that years ago. If this was 2000, this happened 2012, this was 2015, maybe we talk about this. But, like, come on. He does have a point. The book's written about him. and the way they framed it, that he was just a racist and a murderer. And he could have even gotten into suing places like CNN and stuff that posted him as like a white man, and they were shown to have like changed the pigment on his pictures and stuff to make him even whiter and make him look evil. And they showed the pictures of Trayvon where he's like, they showed him the child pictures of him when he was like 12 or something like that. He was 17 when he died. This is not a 17-year-old. They showed like baby pictures, and there were memes of it even back then of him like in a little cradle, like this mass murderer here killed the small baby in the cradle. Anyway, let me know what you guys think about this. I don't know if this is gonna go anywhere. I don't think it will. He probably had a case, like I said, 4 or 5 years ago, and this kind of seems like he might be aiming for a book deal or something. This is probably somebody who people don't. I guess they don't. A lot of people don't see it this way, but even people who get acquitted suffer a lot. So somebody like I don't know if I should compare it to this, but somebody like O.J. Simpson. The Juice Man is still out there. He's got a Twitter. I follow him on Twitter just because it's like a car crash. I can't look away. But he's just because you're acquitted, you're not found innocent. You're acquitted. And not quite the same. You still have this stigma around you, and you can't get. You're just not going to get a regular job. I'm not sure. I would really like to know what Zimmerman has been doing for the past whatever amount of years, like to get by. I know he was in a car crash or something a few years ago, or he helped somebody out of one, and other things. But who's hiring this man? Like, you got somebody who you definitely can't work for the public. Like if you just go into these stores and somebody's like, "You George Zimmerman?" Like, the fuck, man? You're that guy who killed that kid. And then all of a sudden, let's say he's checking out groceries for Kroger, and some guy comes up and he's like, "Hey, you're that dude that killed that kid," and then he like tries to punch him or whatever. And all of a sudden you're on the news, and then it's like Kroger supports murdering unarmed black teens. See, and stuff like that just happens. Like it. Anyway, that's just like I said, 3 stories. All of them very straightforward. None of them have, I guess, come to a conclusion yet, except for maybe the food stamp one. Will be pretty fast. But I'd like to know your opinions on these. These are opinion pieces, I guess. Partially. I just wanted to shoot that out there and see what everybody thinks of these. All right. Thanks for watching. Please like and share and subscribe. Or George Zimmerman's going to come to your house and ask for $1 million.